Hey traders, Raghee here. In this update, we're going to talk about why the economic calendar was probably a bigger influence than a lot of traders may have realized, something that we talked about in this morning's Charts and Coffee pre-market show, which, by the way, you can catch on Simpler Trading's YouTube channel. We go live every morning at 9 a.m. to 9:20, right before we go into our respective rooms. And so today, we talked about the calendar and how this is day 2 of just this bombardment of FOMC events. Well, today we had a very interesting CPI, hotter than expected, which if you caught yesterday's free videos, you know that if we have a higher or hotter than expected inflation number, the equity markets don't like it. And you saw that immediately at 8:30. Well, the cool thing about having an event like this right before the bell is that there's often, in this case, a low or a high that's going to be established. And that low was established. In other words, the market just hit this inflection point on an extreme amount of emotion. And what we saw by the time 10 o'clock arrived is that by the end of the clearing, most of that CPI sell-off was taken back. So here's the move on the CPI, and then you saw subsequent to that, the market move higher. All right, so it's kind of a tie ball game now, right? 0-0. We get back to the level from the sell-off, kind of the scene of the crime, and now traders can kind of say to themselves, all right, well, what's next? So what was next was a breach, a break through the high of the clearing range, and then a retreat, and that was the buying opportunity for us and taking the long position. Why the long position? Well, take a look at the daily. Double green, fully stacked, exponential moving averages suggesting that the path of least resistance is still higher and that dips and longs are going to be better to, dips will lead to longs, and that's going to be the better path of least resistance. So this daily dictates the fact that I'm looking for buys. Really, we could have faded the CPI, but then we had the clearing range buy in here. Fade meaning fade buy. This is a retracement buy. And that's really what the focus was. Now, let me go back to the calendar here, because what happened after that is really interesting. The market went quiet, as normally we could expect it to do as the European markets are closing. But this wasn't any old midday, because we not only had the CPI sort of inflection moment to the downside, then we had Fed member Bostic speaking. Bostic spoke twice today. This timing is interesting because this is basically midday doldrums and just 1 hour in front of the 30-year bond auction. So the market went sideways in front of Bostic, and that's the noon sort of hot zone, if you will. How is the market going to interpret what he says? The market just kind of found a range and stuck with it. And then we know at 1 o'clock, we have another major data point to hit. Now, we know higher yields typically put pressure on equities, and lower yields, bond yields, help equities move higher. Well, what do you think we had? Boom. There was, and look at the time, right there with the 1 o'clock candle. This is what I mean about the calendar. I'm not going to presume that Bostic's going to send the market higher or lower, but I know that's a point at which the market has to consider what, if anything, they want to do. Same thing with 1:01 p.m. Eastern, where the bond yield numbers come out. We know there's going to be yet another reaction, and this one was bearish, much like the CPI earlier this morning. Without seeing that economic calendar and being aware of those 3 times, 8:30, noon, and 1 p.m., many traders would have been caught or blindsided by these major events. So keep the calendar in mind. So what about tomorrow's calendar? Well, we've got PPI numbers, and we've got Fed Chair Powell at noon. This is going to affect the way in which the morning may react. In fact, lately there's been a little bit more kind of sell first, ask questions later in front of Powell. I don't think this is going to be a prolonged move in the market unless Powell misspeaks. So keep an eye out for volatility going into noon. The market might sell in front of that in anticipation of Powell, but for tomorrow, it's a caution day. We have some clear sailing in the morning, and then we're going to have to deal with pretty much every word that comes out of his mouth. So with that being said, and clearly I'm starting to lose my voice, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next update. Smash the like button on the way out. Thanks as always for your time. And if you have any questions or requests for upcoming videos, leave the comments below. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.